verse. I know I'm skipping back and forth, but I told you, in order to really understand Joseph's life, we have to preach about 14 chapters. I don't have time to do that, so please allow me to spastically move back and forth and move and vacillate throughout the text, but I promise you it's going to bring revelation that's going to change your life ultimately. The Bible declares that it had nothing to do with what he was wearing. No, it ain't what the Bible say. Preaching the Bible say he had a coat of many colors. The Bible says he was so favored by his daddy until the coat that he put on him was the representation of the favor. I understand all of that. But Joseph knew it had nothing to do with what he was wearing. But his brothers did not know that. Look at verse 23. They said, come on now, we're going to strip him of his coat of many colors that's on him. Which means if I can take this coat off of this joker, I can take the favor off of him. Lord, help me here. But see, Joseph understood something. Joseph understood that it wasn't about what was on him. It was about what was in him. That ain't good enough for you. Let me prove it by the text. Lady Logan, the text says they took the coat. If favor was on the coat, the moment they touched the coat, favor would have left Joseph and then got on the brothers. But Joseph knew it wasn't about what I had on me. God help me here. It was about what was on the inside of me. And you can take what I got, but you can't take what God put in me. Shout, it's in me. What's this? I would have been acting like red on Friday. My daddy gave me this baby. But Joseph didn't do that. They took the coat, and the joker don't even open his mouth. I said, come on, Joe, come on, you act like a coward now. You gotta say something. You can't let him chin check you like that, Joe. You gotta say something. Joseph talks back to me and he said, Mason, I didn't care about what they took from me, because although they took what I was wearing, they couldn't stop where I was going. I didn't need what I was wearing to get where I was going. As a matter of fact, that coat represented the favor of my father's house. But I was getting ready to go to Pharaoh's house, and Pharaoh was going to put gold all in my ring, gold all in my mouth. Pharaoh was about to bless me. That's why you got to be willing to give up what's over here in order for God to qualify you for what's over there. Joseph said, I don't care about this coat. Sometime behind the loss of the coat of Joseph, we see, behind the loss of the coat, we see Joseph's brothers now scratching their heads, trying to figure out, because they thought if we could just get this coat off of this boy, we could have everything that he had on him. But they did not know that God had placed something on the inside of Joseph that superseded anything they could ever do. And so what Joseph has to understand now is where God is taking me is bigger than where I was. And that's why you cannot allow your promise to be relegated to a particular place unless that place was a part of the promise. All right. I say it again. You can't let your promise be relegated to a particular place unless that place was a part of the promise. Sometimes God will give you the promise in one place and then take you to another place for the promise to be fulfilled. Because God is not wrapped up in places, he's wrapped up in promises. Sometimes conditions are necessary for the promise to come to pass, but other times they have nothing to do with what God is going to do. When God says he's going to do a thing, it's going to be done regardless, because God is a covenantal kind of God. Joseph understands better than us. He says, Mason, I was sure of what I'd seen. And then he said, Mason, I got so bold that I said what I saw. Then he said, Mason, here is the lesson I learned. I want you to talk to the people and tell them what I told you. He said, Mason, whenever you got a real dream from God, it has to sometimes look like a nightmare. And you got to be willing to let what you saw be sold. Please don't miss this. So somewhere in the 27th and 28th verses, it said, come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let us not lay our hands upon him. And for he is our brother, our flesh. His brothers were content them they passed by. There passed by the Midianite merchants, men who drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and they sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver.